Good evening, and what is up, Razorback Nation? We're back this afternoon with your Sunday episode of Razor Recap. Today, we're going to talk about the linebacker room here in a little bit, cover some things that happened over the weekend, talk some pro hogs, and things like that. But before we jump into it, can't forget about our sponsor over at Razor Pigs. Looking good, never felt so fun. Razor Pigs is the Arkansas-born brand, bringing some serious style to the golf course, tailgate, and everywhere in between. From high-quality polos to head-turning hats, they've got what you need to rep the natural state with pride. Founded right here at home and now run by a Razorback-loving family, Razor Pigs is where comfort meets cool. So go hog wild. Shop Razor Pigs today at razorpigs.us. And our friends over at Scarlet Letter, Arkansas's very own handcrafted spiked seltzer. You can check them out today. And if you're in Northwest Arkansas, you can even check out the Core Brewery Tap Room in downtown Springdale, where you can check out and get Scarlet Letter and all its various flavors, as well as the new hard seltzers that they have on hard tea seltzers that they have on tap. So get out there, check those guys out. Guys, how are we Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, pretty good. One step closer to college football. So there's that. But
exactly 20 days away.
Yeah, it's still hot outside, though, so that sucks. It ain't big man weather, I'll tell you that.
That's why you go to the pool, kick up your feet, relax, open a cold one, cold beer. Sam Pittman.
Kick it like Sam Pittman. Go to Lake Hamilton, open a cold beer.
There you go.
Yeah. There we go. But yeah, I mean, we're getting ever closer day by day to this upcoming football season, and I think it's going to be an important one in this group that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. It's going to be a key one for, I think, some success on the defensive side of the ball. But before we do, kind of round up some news from stuff this weekend. So yesterday, Arkansas soccer had their last exhibition match of their I guess preseason, if you will. Took on Oral Roberts, won 6-0 last night. Pretty dominating performance from our women's soccer team. They get ready to open the regular season on Thursday versus number 13th ranked Iowa. At home, so they're getting the regular season kicked off, and it should be another good one for Colby Hill and these Lady Razorbacks as they are prepped and primed for another postseason run this season.
Yeah, I just kept scrolling through Twitter, and I just kept seeing Hogs on the Hill's official account just another score, another goal, over and over and over again. So I imagine my friend who does the PA over there was probably getting a little hoarse after all those goals. But yeah, man, it's cool to get another promising year. Hopefully they can break past that Elite Eight type performances they've had, but at the same time, you got the rest of this whole season to get through first. So, yeah, I'm excited to see them and see what they can do. It might be the most interesting show going on until basketball starts in November. So,
right. And then, it is preseason. We're talking about college football getting ready, but preseason week 1 is kicked off for NFL, and you've got some pro hogs out there having some fantastic performances, especially the kickers. Yes, Hobbs, we will talk about kickers at some point in this position preview, but on the pro hog side of things, I don't know how you missed it yesterday. You must be living under a rock if you did. Cam Little, we know what he can do from what he done at his time here. 70-yard field goal in the preseason game yesterday, which beats the official record by 66 yards by 4 yards. But unfortunately, it doesn't count since it was in preseason.
Yeah. I imagine they're probably – unless they have the opportunity to do it, I don't know if they'll probably do that again. Just, if it's not a crunch time situation type thing, or at the end of a half and something like that. But those instances come in few and far between. So hopefully he'll get another chance this year at it. And the thing is, that probably would have been good from like 71 or 72, to be honest with you. At least it probably would have hit the crossbar at 72. But that's just insane. Being able to, to pull something like that. And you look at Cam Little and you're like, this 5 foot, probably 9-10 guy that's scrawny. You don't think he's a NFL, like the best NFL kicker in the league right now, which, that's saying a lot, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. but yeah, you wouldn't look at him and think, oh, great NFL kicker, but he's over here almost breaking records. That's just insane. Everyone was hyped. You look, every single one of the like ESPN, like Outkick, and even like Barstool and all those things, they were all tweeting it out. And whenever he gets recognition, Arkansas gets recognition too. So all around, just an amazing deal for him and for the University of Arkansas.
So he will get another chance to break. He'll get a chance to break the single season. You don't have a weapon like that reveal itself, and then they're going to be like, "Oh, 68, no problem. Go try it." I mean, they're going to, and it's not like Jacksonville's probably going to be in a situation this year where they're going to have a good year. I don't see them having a good season, but as far as winning games, but he's going to get his chance to break that record. I promise you that. So that record is not going to stand for long. I mean, it was just broken, a few years ago. So I mean, these kickers are kicking the ball further and further. It's crazy.
Right. And talk about the type of things that you can do situational wise, like, if it is crunch time, and hey, what's the worst thing if you miss, you go to overtime, or at the end of the half, if you miss, okay, you're going to the halftime. So opportunities like that. But it's like, as you texted our group yesterday, Hobbs, kicker, Cam Lynn's not the only guy to talk about. There's one Jake Bates that's kicking for the Detroit Lions that hit from 57 just the other day. Not as long, but what his journey has been since leaving Arkansas, going and playing in the CFL, then getting the opportunity with the Detroit Lions, knocking it out of the park in preseason, and then last year having one heck of a season with the Detroit Lions, not even missing a field goal until late in the year. Just great path and career so far for him in Detroit too.
Yeah, exactly. And like 57 is no joke, right? I mean, we just saw a 70-yard one, but 57, that's still quite a long ways. That's a very long field goal for a normal kicker. And the thing is, he kicked it with ease. It looked easy. And it's just everyone likes to, say some bad things about Scott Fountain, but that kid was our kickoff specialist, right? Like, we had an embarrassment of riches in the special teams in the last few years. And last year, whenever we just didn't have that, we felt it. And you kind of have to feel a little bit, what do you call it? You don't know what you got until it's gone. So like that Scott Fountain type of stuff, like him bringing in guys like that, I mean, obviously we need to keep doing that.
Right. 100%.
And we are. Number one kicker in the country came in. So future is bright again.
Yeah. As long as you can maintain that, I'll take it. Clutch situations where you need a kicker. It's always good to have a dead-eye kicker from anywhere on the field for the most part. So that'll be good to see. And we'll talk about kickers here in the next week or so. It'll be fun to talk about those guys. Sticking with some pro Hogs other than kickers, you have one Isaac Tesla that's actually doing pretty well in this preseason, drafted by the Lions, actually the first Razorback drafted. I know we talked about that, surprisingly drafted before some others that we expected to be drafted. First Razorback off the board, and he's killing it so far in preseason with the Detroit Lions. Played in the Hall of Fame game, played really well. And then preseason week 1 catches his first touchdown for the Detroit Lions. He is making a push for a roster spot, and I wouldn't be surprised that he'll make the roster, and then I wouldn't be surprised to see him push for playing time during the regular season as well. He's just was underutilized at Arkansas, and now you're seeing what Arkansas had with his athleticism, his catch radius, and what he can do at the professional level. Yes, I know. I in my tweet the other day, I was like, yes, it's preseason, but still, he's doing this against other professionals that they have gotten a shot in the NFL for a reason, and he's having success out there. So I can't wait to see what Dan Campbell and this offensive line's offense will be able to do with a guy like Isaac Tesla.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because all this hype with Traylon Burks, going into the league, having like a skill player from Arkansas make it big like that, and it just there's not a whole lot. Maybe the last one that I can think of Hunter Henry, and to be honest, I mean, his has been kind of mediocre, like his career. You don't have like greats or anything like that.
No, he's been
Mediocre's a little
pretty
too
good
hard.
actually.
Okay, well,
I mean,
he's not like whenever you think of top tight ends, he's not.
No,
In the
but
last 10 years, he's not in the top 10.
He ain't had like a really like a strong quarterback throughout his career, but that boy's been consistent
Phillip Rivers
for his first part of his career. Yeah, but I mean,
yeah.
in a
I mean,
10-man fantasy league, I can almost guarantee you that Hunter Henry might be starting on every Sunday on the team.
No, we've had 8, and there's most of the time I guess maybe I don't know. Still, I mean,
but yeah, he could be more productive.
Mediocre was a little bit hard to say, a little bit harsh. Okay, mediocre is a little harsh.
There we go.
But he's not like he doesn't pop off the screen whenever you think of NFL tight ends. Okay, that's what I'm saying. We don't. That's the closest thing we've had to a great skill player in a long time. And Traylon Burks was supposed to be that guy, and he can't stay healthy. So maybe having someone like Isaac Tesla come in and showing out, that's going to be really exciting to see. But the thing is, there's so many questions about why the heck wasn't he utilized at Arkansas like that?
Yeah.
So did Andrew Armstrong, Caleb, I know you were just watching that game. Did he play any in that game?
He might have got some reps. I don't know if he had any receptions for sure. I never heard his name called. Let me double check our stats here for that and see if he got some run. He might have had some targets.
Did Tesla?
He got 2 targets, but no receptions.
Tesla played this last year, and the year before that, he played with who was KJ Jefferson, right?
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong. And then he was only here for 2 years, right?
Right.
Yeah, okay. Tesla. Yeah, he was here for 2 seasons.
So I just the first year with KJ, he was good, but KJ was just awful. I mean, we've talked about this before about the downfall of a quarterback. I've never seen anything like it. How somebody can get just consistently worse, and then. And then this last season, I feel like, when plays were able to develop, he got the ball. But there was a lot of times where may not have the time in the pocket to do much. So who do you go to? You go to number 2, who's running a quick slant or in and out route. So that might have been, I don't know if underutilized is the best way to say this when you have the leading SEC receiver on your roster. I just don't know. I don't know where else we're supposed to go with this. He did become a 3rd-round pick. So for me, I see it on the side of I'm celebrating that he was a Razorback, and that I'm going to be able to follow him for his NFL career. And I think he's going to light up the scene in the NFL. I think that he's in a great spot in Detroit, a assistant that knows, how to play call that. And he's got receivers too. I think he's out playing veteran guys like who is that? Khalif Raymond, and there's another guy. So he's probably going to be the number 3 receiver on that team this year. And then another thing about his production last year, we did have a guy be open quite a bit, but he just had buttery hands, and I just don't understand how you just can't catch football. So that didn't work out the way we thought it would.
Fair enough. I mean, you underutilized is an interesting word. I mean, one of the probably best plays you can think of that he had last year was that big reception he had against Texas A&M where Green was flushed out of the pocket, finds him going down the sideline. Big play. But, like you said, I can't wait to see what he's going to do in the NFL this year. It's like Transplanted Texas said here. Tesla brought his hands in TD celebration aura to the NFL. Lots of positive talk. Would like to see him secure a roster spot. Seems highly likely. 100%. I don't think I'm like 98% sure this guy's going to make the roster. I don't know why you wouldn't after what you've seen. Brady over here says, as a Bears fan, I hope he does good, but they lose. So, fair enough. Great individual performances, but it doesn't result in team wins, especially against the Bears for Brady. So,
yeah, all I know is that Hobbs is feeling a bit argumentative today. That's what I got from that.
There you go.
I'm not gonna hash it. I'm not gonna hash it out. I'm gonna let him win this one. But yeah, no. But still, it's all around. It's more or less. It's a net positive for Arkansas and for him. I mean, just think about it though. Like as someone who grew up a Lions fan and going out there and balling out, like I would give like I don't know how much money just to feel what he's feeling for like 5 minutes. It's awesome.
Yeah. I'll toss this question over to you, Hobbs. Joe says, if I draft all Hogs fantasy football, what players do I go for?
I mean, if I'm being completely honest with you, there's not really one that's, if you're wanting to win your fantasy football league, there's not really one that's draftable until probably, depending on your league size and how many bench spots you got, maybe Hunter Henry in the late rounds. But, Cam Little, I love Cam Little to death. And, yeah, he's great. But you get kickers on teams that have opportunities to score more because Cam Little may only attempt 1 or 2 field goals a game if he's lucky. So, Bates, though, however, could be one, if not the top kicker off the board. So Bates will definitely be a guy you want to have on your team. But yeah, as far as and maybe Tesla later on in the year, you just got to see kind of how they play him and how much, because he's got Jamison Williams and Amos St. Brown and their tight end. I can't think of his name off the top of my head at the moment, but Laporta, they're loaded. So
yeah.
But yeah, Bates is definitely the for sure Razorback. I can say that's the guy that to have on your team this year.
Right. Yeah. So,
but no Hunter Henry.
No, I said
after all that. Okay, I'm just saying, like after all that, and you don't even mention Hunter Henry.
Yeah, because he's a guy that I did mention Henry. I said in the late rounds.
There you go. So, not as many as you want. I have a couple of dynasty leagues that I've got Tesla stashed away with. But as far as in regular, probably redraft fantasy formats, you're not going to take a guy unless it's like Hobbs said, a late round Hunter Henry for your tight end or potentially a Bates for a kicker spot type situation. So, as we continue things before we jump into the position preview, Arkansas had its first fall scrimmage yesterday of, some controlled scripted plays that they went through and ran. Transplant Texans or Brady says, why was there nothing said about Antonio Jordan in the scrimmage? Not a ton going on there other than, the big person everybody's talking about is Malik Washington. He had 2 big plays yesterday, 140 over the 140 plays that they ran in scrimmage yesterday. He had a 62-yard touchdown rush and then busted a 40-yard touchdown run as well. He was kind of the key guy. Also in the press conference, Pittman mentioned that Taylor threw about 6 touchdowns. And, of course, this is going to be against, your own team. It's not going to be as realistic as a game, but it's promised to see, these guys have success. But on the flip side of that, how much does that worry you guys about the defensive side of the ball?
So let's get one thing straight. I mean, most of these plays were – yeah, it's going to be like that with anything. If the offense isn't scoring, now you're afraid, about the offense. So there's no way to look at it without like having some kind of questions. But that's the way practice is. Secondly, most of those touchdowns and everything came from the first team offense against second team offense, our defense. So the thing that you got to worry about is the depth. That's what I'm more worried about. And we talked about it Thursday about the defensive line depth. You look at one of those big runs. I don't know if it was a 60-yarder or a 40-yarder, but they posted it on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And from the little bit of view you could see like 3 or 4 problems with the whole thing. And not all of it was on the defense. There was some of it on the offense. Like there's two offensive line that are they're going up to the second level and they just like hit into each other and fall over, but that accidentally hits the backside linebacker and really breaks open that run. And then you have like Ian Jaffard over there who's a little bit too interested with the guy that who's trying to block him and not looking for the running back in the backfield. Yeah, so there were some issues there, but again, this is the first scrimmage of fall camp against the twos, right? Let's give them just a little bit of a break. But to see the offense like overpower a defense, it's not like these defensive players are bad.
Right.
But I think that's more of a testament to how good this offense can be. And
True.
we saw it last year, how good this offense could be between the 20s. We just need them to be good in the red zone too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great and all that you can bust off these big plays, fantastic and all, but at the end of the day, if it comes down to crunch time in the red zone, you got to be able to score there. So, like you said, it is against the twos. Like Brady said, Pittman was talking about it. 3 of those touchdowns were against second team defense. So, that's something to take with that as well. Brady says, do we know if Shaq or Harris was first team right tackle? I don't see a breakdown necessarily of the depth chart that they had for the scrimmage yesterday. I would either be willing to say that Harris probably started or they did some type of rotation between the two guys as that battle's ongoing through camp. So we'll have to see at the end of the day who comes out week 1. Because, you've seen it bounce back and forth if you go through and look at the depth charts and listen to some of the stuff, news and articles coming out about camp. These guys are rotating through. You're not going to have just one guy completely getting all the snaps. So,
right. And I think I don't know. I just, from what I've listened to and from some of the reporting, stuff like that, it feels kind of like they're leaning towards Kobe Branham to be that guard. It just depends on how well they do throughout the rest of this camp. But the person they want playing with Kobe Branham is Shaq. So if that's what happens, then that's probably who's going to be at right tackle, which is kind of crazy to see Marion Harris not start on this offensive line. That's I think he's probably one of the top 5 linemen, if not closer to 1 or 2. So I don't know. I don't know how that dynamic's going to work out, but we'll see. I think no matter what, they're going to be pretty decent on the right side of that line.
Yeah.
I just want to go back to something real quick. So Hunter Henry finished 16th, the 16th best tight end in fantasy football last year. So if you're in a 10-team league or even 8-team and you draft a backup tight end, that he's on your roster pretty much. So
okay, since you brought this up, what's the definition of mediocre?
Okay, well, let me show you.
How many teams are in the NFL? 32. What's half of 32? 16. So I think I'm right.
No, we're talking about fantasy football here. So he caught 66 balls on 97 targets. He was targeted 97 times last year. 674 yards, 2 touchdowns. So just imagine if he had a few more touchdowns, he could be in that top 10 tight end conversation. So I just feel like he may be in for even a better year this year.
Have you ever seen that Italian cook, that clip from like the British morning show? And when he's making this food for him and person's like, hey, this is closer to a carbonara if it had ham. And he looks at her and he says, well, if my grandma had wheels, she would have been a bike. I mean, I feel like that kind of, if he had more touchdowns, he'd be up there. But anyway.
Patriots brought in Josh McDaniels back. They got Stephon Diggs. I mean, now that we're looking at all those scenarios, look out for Hunter Henry this year.
Told you.
On that boat, I feel I'm in that same boat as Brady here. Hunter Henry can have all the success he wants as long as the Patriots are terrible. I don't care.
Hey, yeah, I feel you.
Hey, yeah.
So, like Transplant Text said, Hobbs Fantasy Football Gamer Tip segment right there for you. So, so good point here. We were talking about kind of refocusing here back to the offensive line. Transplant Texan said, am I correct in thinking the left side of the line is set and just the right side is in flux? That would be correct.
Yeah.
It's Corey Robinson and Fernando Carmona on the left side of your line. Your right side's what's going to be, in flux, if you will. You'll probably see more than likely it's going to be Amarion Harris, Blackstock may be getting that start in game one, but I wouldn't be surprised to see those guys rotated out in game one with Shaq and Kobe. But I could be wrong unless there's just some major progression in camp between, now and the next 20 days before game one's here. And we get that first week one depth chart, but it's going to be interesting to see how that battle, falls out. If you look at upside, some of these guys, we talked about how Blackstock was last year. At least he must have made improvements with, to be in that situation this year. Amarion Harris, a guy that's gotten opportunities, finding some success. But if you look at upside, you got a guy like Shaq McCroy, that redshirt freshman, super talented, coming in, getting an opportunity. What is his ceiling? And then Kobe Brown, a guy that just had dealt with some injury stuff last year and a little bit in the spring, that is a really talented guy that this coaching staff likes. But now can they, get to that potential that we know is there and kind of beat out maybe some of these other guys that maybe are at their ceiling or don't have as a high upside going forward.
Yeah. Was there a question in that? Because I was.
Yeah, essentially. So what Transplant Texan was asking, he said, is the left side set?
Oh, yeah. No.
And the
Okay.
right side is in flux.
I meant in your thing, because I thought there was a question
really
there, and I was trying to think back into it. But the left side's good. I mean, they brought Corey Robinson in basically to play that spot. There wasn't a whole lot of competition because there wasn't a whole lot of competition to be had. I mean, the guy is one of the best pass blockers in the country, and it moves what's his name, Fernando Carmona, over to in a spot that they see. I think I know what I'm talking about just a little bit. Whenever the coaching staff comes out and says exactly what I'm thinking, I think I know what I'm talking about a little bit when it comes to the offensive line. They think that's a better spot for him too, right? So and then Kittler. So all those two guys, Corey Robinson and Caden Kittler, they came in to play those spots.
Yeah, so 3/5 of your offensive line is set.
Right, exactly. So, and the good thing is those four on the right side, it's not because you don't know who you can just put in there to make it work. It's so they're all four are good, and they don't know which combination is going to work the best. I think, like I said before, no matter what happens, they're going to be fine. It's just trying to get that balance to which one works the best for this offense.
And like you said, you're talking about any combination, and it's going to be hard to find that out until probably maybe week 2. I mean, I think any combination is going to work against Alabama A&M.
Right.
But
yeah.
Arkansas State, maybe
you just need it figured out by week 3.
Yeah, because you're gonna have to have some combinations in that one.
Yeah.
So.
And they got that one circled too. Going
absolutely.
into Ole Miss, Travis Williams definitely has that one scheduled.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see like 10 plays with cover 0 where they're just trying to kill.
I just want somebody to go over there and slap Lane Kiffin in the face for me.
Oh.
Someone grab the fire extinguisher and just start getting all of them.
There we go. And as we kind of wrap up this fall camp, we got some kind of injury updates, nothing super serious, but after the scrimmage to go through, fall scrimmage. So senior tight end Andreas Puska suffered what was believed a high ankle injury at some point, kept him out rest of the morning. Other injuries, Cam Ball, Rodney Hill, both had AC sprains, could have participated but didn't. So those guys were held out. Just preventive. You don't want to risk getting somebody hurt in an inter-squad scrimmage. We've seen that too many times come back to bite Arkansas in the past. Pittman said they came out pretty injury-free other than maybe a guy like Puska that, had that high ankle. Xavier Sorey, who we're going to talk about in a little bit, dealing with a lingering hamstring injury in the days leading up to the scrimmage. Sophomore linebacker Bradley Shaw saw reps with the first team due to Xavier Sorey having some lingering hamstring issues. Other guys, Arkansas was out redshirt sophomore, wide receiver punt returner Cam Shanks, similar to Sorey, dealing with some hamstring issues. Didn't want to push it, kept him on the sideline. So, going through that, of course, we know Ismail Cisse, wide receivers, out for the season. And other than those guys, pretty injury-free. I'm not against a guy like, keeping Cam Ball, Rodney Hill guys held out just, for precautionary reasons. No sense in if there's any risk to playing them and risking further injury that could be hurt the season. So, other than that, pretty scot-free injury-wise. But yeah, like Brady says, Carmona's already pumped for Ole Miss. Transplant Texan replied and said the team needs more than Carmona to get hyped for that game, but it's a start. And then Brady saying, Austin, are you calling for an errant Taylor pass right at Lane?
No, I think that was more or less Hobbs' boat. I'd rather have passes in the end zone. That's just me. But if it comes down to it and they want to pull like the longest yard and smoke him a couple times, I wouldn't be mad about it.
There we go. So if it happens to happen, no big deal, but let's not purposely do that. If the play's dead anyway and you're just throwing it away, why not maybe be a little bit more accurate and, hit Coach Griffin, no big deal.
Right, exactly.
So, well, with that, we'll jump over into our position breakdown for this week. And as said before, we're going to look at the linebackers this week. We talked about the defensive line last week, which I was, talked about, said, in my opinion, could be one of our shakier groups as far as the three on defense. We flipped to the linebackers this weekend, which I feel like could be our strongest position group on the defensive side of the ball, at least for now, until to be seen otherwise, just because with your returners and some of the talent you got coming in. And that all starts with Xavier Sorey, a guy that announced he was coming back after last season, wanted to come back for another season, which was a big help to this linebacker room. Experienced guy that was a redshirt junior last season, leader of this defense, had 99 total tackles last year, 40 solo, had 9.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 1 interception. Essentially our quarterback of the defense, one of those guys that's going to be help setting this defense up for success going forward, a key guy. Started all 13 games last year, led the team, like we said, with those tackles. I'm excited to see what this guy is going to do in this season, and increase that draft stock. And we're talking about him getting drafted next spring.
Yeah, and it's kind of a blessing that he came back because Arkansas was hemorrhaging guys on the defensive line, and having someone that's like in a leadership position like Sorey coming back, even if he wasn't going to if he were to go into NFL draft, it's still, my point remains, having someone there that is a leader and has been there before and have someone to build around, that's super key to having a good defense. And whenever you have a defense, well, really any defense whatsoever, but especially a defense that relies heavily on the linebacker, like Travis Williams' defense does, that's incredibly helpful. Like, I know we talked about last week how the depth is worrying up front. And I do agree with that, especially on the inside. But when you have linebackers in pretty good linebacker depth, that's going to help a lot, right? As long as you can get your big guys up front to make those, take up space and eat blocks, those guys in the back in the secondary are going to be able to make those plays. And I think that's more or less what's going to happen. And whenever you think about last year, they kind of pulled back on the pressure from those, from the secondary, from the linebackers, because Arkansas had, a little bit of problem covering people. If they can do that, and that's their plan, right, they're going to have a lot more of the opportunity to run those exotic blitzes and everything like that. So you could probably see those tackle for losses and the sacks for Xavier Sori go up. I mean, he could look more like, I'm not saying he's going to look like him, because he's a different player and all that, but he could have closer numbers to like a Drew Sanders a few years ago, because they might actually run him more like a Drew Sanders than what they did last year. So I expect he's going to be the key guy in this defense. And I think if he does well, the defense is going to do decent.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to go how the 10s go. Taylor Green and Xavier Sori, those guys wearing the number 10 jersey.
That's a good hook. I might use that.
but yeah, I mean, you talk about a guy that has the potential to be a first, maybe not a first, but second, third round pick, worst case scenario, fourth round pick in this upcoming draft because of, he had 99 tackles last year, one away from triple digits, and I feel he's going to do the same thing. I hope that hamstring he's got now doesn't linger. But with a fully healthy year, look out now. This guy he's going to be all over the field. You're going to see number 10 everywhere if he's in for a healthy year, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. Comes in with a good size this year, 6'3", 225. Like you said, that lingering hamstring, with the heat right now that's going on, I don't blame for holding him out of a scrimmage and that type of thing, just not push anything. So, but I'm excited to see what this guy's going to do. If our line can step up and, like you said, and our secondary can cover a little bit better this year, the way we can utilize this guy very similar to Drew Sanders fashion, Sori could be in for a big year. Same story, different year essentially, because, look at Drew Sanders. Came in from Alabama after losing his starting job and really flourished and, busted onto the scene here at Arkansas. Well, Xavier Sori played decent minutes at Georgia, comes over to Arkansas where he can be more of a key factor on that defense. And look what the numbers he puts up. And
then Drew Sanders was hurt all of last year for Denver, comes back from the PUP list, I think it's like week 8 or so, and comes in and sacks so Austin's quarterback, Herbert, in his first game back. So
it happens.
And so,
it's going to happen a lot more now that Rashad Slater is out, but,
Yeah. And, so looking at it too, Sori finished the season, by being named the defensive most outstanding player for the bowl game and then announced he's coming back. The success and the hype for this season couldn't be bigger for this young man. And, lined up right there beside him, another key factor for this Arkansas defense in this linebacker room is going to be Steven Dix Jr., a guy that, transferred in from Marshall. It was a redshirt senior last year, gets an extra year this year due to some of those rules and things like that. 6'1", 246, appeared in all 13 games, made 10 starts last year, 72 total tackles, 23 of those solo, 2.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and 1 fumble recovery. Another guy that is a hard-hitting linebacker that comes in, going to line up with Xavier Sori and, be another key experienced leader on this team. They've got a couple of young guys that will be vying for that third kind of linebacker spot between Bradley Shaw, Tavian Wallace, those guys. And you got 2 great experienced linebackers that can help mentor and develop these young men that are going to be probably future starters for Arkansas. But, this combination could potentially set up for a great threat for this Arkansas linebacker room and other offenses across the league.
Yeah. He's someone that really surprised me last year. You finish third on the team in total tackles, coming from a place like Marshall. Whenever you have a guy who like Brad Spence, who's no longer with us, right? He's alive, but he's no longer in Fayetteville. He's over at Texas, and he's doing some pretty good stuff for them too. The last time I checked, but just having that kind of like shocking revelation, hey, this guy can play, that was a great thing to have, especially when Spence left. And the thing is, you also have, I mean, we'll get to him in a second, but Brad Shaw come up. So like whenever we started to have those people leave, especially like the depth pieces, I didn't feel bad about this linebacker room at all. Especially whenever Saving Story said, hey, I'm coming back. I'm like, oh, they're set. They might get one guy out of the portal, and they did. We'll talk about him in a second. Steven Dix, he's going to be, he's going to be Pippin to Story's Michael Jordan. That's what I think this linebacker crew is going to be like. They're extremely talented, and they're going to run this defense for sure.
Yeah, I mean, when you have that 1-2 punch of the linebacker like these two guys, it really helps you, try to stop the running game, be the back end of it if they break from the break through the first line, and then also with the way they're wanting to play with the zero blitzes this year. You have the confidence to not only send one of them, but maybe man one of them up against the running back. So it's crucial to have these kind of pieces at the linebacker position.
Also, I mean, I didn't see this until just now, but I read the wrong string. Never mind. I was going to pull up a point that did not matter now because I read it. I was on the wrong line. My bad.
Yeah, so these guys are going to be crucial, like Hobbs said. I mean, it's going to be fun to watch these guys work back and forth, how they're schemed, because, both him and Story, hard-hitting linebackers, and that's what you love to see in the SEC. Like we said, as long as these guys can stay healthy, great 1-2 punch for this Arkansas defense. And then kind of as we move on, a guy that, is competing for that third spot that could be an additional piece for this Arkansas team that if he kind of has a breakout season, if you will, Arkansas could very well have 3 really good top linebackers this season that all could put up big numbers and help this defense. And that's one Bradley Shaw, a guy that was a true freshman last year, appeared in 12 games, at both linebacker and special teams. 12 total tackles last season, 4 solo, 2.5 tackles for loss, 1 sack. Comes into this year 6'1", 237, and has been getting a lot of prime and run with the first team. Guys run with first team in the scrimmage yesterday due to Exori sitting out of that. And a guy that has a lot of potential, came into Arkansas as a 4-star prospect. It seems that there's at least one per recruiting class that Travis Williams knocks out of the park and gets a really talented linebacker. And this is just one on that list. And we'll talk about another one in a minute, but is primed to get ready for a breakout season.
Yeah, exactly. And to come in with a linebacker class or a linebacker group that's as deep as the one we had last year, and still be able to get those 12 tackles and 2.5 tackles for loss in 12 tackles, that's crazy. That's pretty dang good. So that guy has got some fight, and especially if they do these exotic blitzing packages like we think they're going to do, having a guy that can do that consistently and be able to get those TFLs consistently, that's huge. And having someone like that be so young to do it too, even better, because as long as he stays out of the portal, we'll have him for another year. But here's the thing too. I think they may try to do some 3-3-5 type defenses. So 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers. And whenever you do that, you have to have really good depth at linebacker. Because I got this, what's his name? Trey Betty talked about it a little bit in his walk and talk after all that, the scrimmages. And, he named like whenever they had Hayden Henry and Bumper Pool and Grant Morgan, they just had 2 linebackers. And those guys were like held together by tape at the end of the year. So they rotated them. So you need to have a pretty big linebacker group if you're going to run a 3-3. And I think having Bradley Shaw there as that third guy is going to help a lot. especially if he can take that next step his sophomore year and maybe bump up those numbers by, 15, 16, total tackles. That's going to do wonders for this defense.
Yeah, I mean, we've been hearing about Shaw for so long now. Coaching staff raving about him. A guy that you just like you just want to see. You want to see it. You can't wait to see it. When the defense takes the field, I tell you one thing that I'm going to be looking for is number 7. Where's he at? Let me see it because I'm ready. I'm excited the way they keep talking about him because, like Austin just said, when you got the linebacking talent that we have, and maybe the defensive line isn't as strong as we like it to be, that 3-3-5 is going to be huge, So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah. And some talented depth pieces, we talked about Sorey and Dix being those 2 experienced guys. You have a lot of young talent, inexperienced that, are ready to get their opportunity. And this is just one of those guys. Another guy that is going to be in that same boat is a guy that Arkansas got surprised with his commitment. Last year, he tried to be funny and give Austin a little bit of a panic attack on commitment day. Friend of the show, Tavian Wallace, that jumped on earlier in the spring. Freshman coming in, was a 4-star recruit in his senior season high school, 49 total tackles, 7 half tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, and a forced fumble. 6'1", 239. Is another guy that is vying for some playing time and getting some run with the depth and these 1s and 2s in practice. And he's got these coaching staff is excited about. He's got great size, 6'1", 239. And now it's just, with looking at, all right, you've got Sorey, Dix, maybe Shaw. After that, there's a lot of opportunity for rotation guys to come in. And for his freshman season, I would love to see some big time plays and some opportunities for Tavian Wallace.
Yeah, and especially if they start doing that 3-3 defense, he's going to be crucial too, right? I was saying that you needed a pretty good depth for having 2 linebackers. So obviously having someone like a talented freshman like Tavian Wallace come in and do some rotating, that's going to be huge. And the thing is, you look at him and he doesn't look like a true freshman, right? I mean, you see that picture right there. I mean, his arms are like this big around. He's got, and we talked about it with like Antonio Jordan. He doesn't look like a true freshman either. He's kind of in that same field as his body is almost just ready to go. He probably will have a little bit of a learning curve, but as long as he can go in there and, play like he did last year to a point, he'll be fine being that rotation guy. And then maybe next year he could probably take that next step and replace like Xavier Sorey whenever he leaves.
Right. And I love the point that I'm just saying makes here. And that's what we need to see out of this linebacking core. He said we need to see more plays from these linebacking, not just necessarily stats. Our defense that Travis Williams runs is friendly, linebacker friendly to record tackles, but are they for losses? Are they causing fumbles? Are they getting picks or breaking up third down passes? Things like that. So it's like, yeah, these guys are, having great stats, making the tackles. Let's see more of those TFLs, those pass breakups, those forced fumbles, that type of situation. And I think that's what is going to be key, like especially depending on the defense, this exotic, the 3-3-5, you're running less linemen. You've got an extra linebacker in there. Can they cause some of these issues? Get the guys in the backfield, hit these linebackers at the hole, maybe cause a tackle for a loss. Big third down play, that drag coming across the middle, can they cause a pass breakup or force the drop ball? Things like that. And that's what, we need to see out of these guys this season.
Yeah, I agree. And that's one of the things that kind of hurt Arkansas's defense last year. And they weren't really bad. They did at the end of the season kind of tail off. Oh, they were. That was bad. Yeah, that was.
I saw a number 11 catch another touchdown against us. I was about to throw something.
Yeah, I know. I feel you. But that was one of the things that hurt them. They just couldn't. They couldn't get pressure. That was a big thing. And those TFLs weren't exactly, prevalent. So I think that's one of the reasons why they're doing this. Their philosophy is going back to where it was the year before, trying to get more artificial pressure. So like bringing blitzes and doing stunts like that instead of just being mano and mano, trying to get pressure with your four guys up front. Having stuff like this, especially doing some like blitzes and stunts on rundowns, like specifically those type of run blitzes, I think that's going to help them a lot. And you should see a few of those TFLs come our way too. Now, here's the problem with that. It's kind of a double-edged sword. If you miss your tackle or you don't hit the hole that you're supposed to go into, it's a big game. So it's kind of hit or miss. These guys got to be super disciplined and know their assignments and keep up, even whenever it gets hard, because that's whenever you get in the middle of the third quarter, you're tired. You may not be winning. You might not have all the, morale that you usually have. And that's whenever you need to keep that discipline and keep that mindset and make sure you hit your holes and do what you're supposed to do, or it could really hurt Arkansas. So it's kind of like, I'm excited to see it, but I'm also a little bit cautious because I know stuff like that can happen.
Yeah. So it's going to be key for these linebackers as we continue on. Another guy that, could have a similar type story as what we've seen of Steven Dix as we continue on for guys that might find some playing time is a guy by the name of Trent Whalen, guy that counts as a later commit for Arkansas, came in late in the spring, transferring from Southern Utah, spent the spring at Kent State before deciding that's not really where he wanted to be. He comes in. He's a redshirt senior, 6'3", 238 at Southern Utah last season. Had 46 tackles over 9 games with 5.5 tackles for loss. And so a guy that kind of, I feel like could be similar in the way his career's been as Steven Dix. And he's also making, different things happen along the, in fall camp. He's getting runs with the twos, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him get some potential run with the ones, but he's going to be a rotational guy. Like we said, we keep going back to, if you're running a 3-3 and you're having multiple linebackers a game, you're going to have to rotate these guys, keep them fresh. And this guy could be one of those pieces that could be a rotational guy and, get some action in this Arkansas defense.
Yeah, and I think that's because even the players, some of them are mentioning this Trent Whalen, and he's kind of like you kind of hit the nail on the head. He's from Kent State, and they're obviously way worse than.
Well, he only spent the spring there.
Right. He only spent the spring. Yeah. Right. So even worse than that. So worse. Lower on the scale of college football. So that's a big jump. But he's got the size, like you said, 6'3", 238. That's a big guy. And they said that he's been putting in the work and he's doing really well. So I see a huge depth piece, like you were saying. Heck, dude. At that size, he's. Let me see. He's basically the same size as Sorey, except just a little bit bigger. He's up there in size with Andrew Harris and Sorey for being the tallest and biggest linebacker on this group. So putting him like right there in the middle every once in a while, and on rundowns especially, having that extra weight, that's going to be super good, super, super helpful for this defense, I think. And as long as he can keep up with the intricacies of Williams' defense, I think he'll be fine.
So he's a freshman coming in?
He's a redshirt senior this year.
Right.
So he's only there. He was only at Kent State for the spring.
Yeah, he transferred to Kent State from Southern Utah, spent the spring there, and I guess decided that wasn't the fit for him, and then re-entered the portal.
Yeah, he made an amazing decision because I don't know what he was thinking. Kent State was 0-12 last year and the worst FBS team there was in football. So, so I'm glad that he got away from that toxic. That just they were awful. So, but yeah, If he's getting runs with the twos, he must be performing pretty well, and he's got all the accessories on too in that pick. So I wonder if he's going to come out on the field looking like that too.
Hey, we'll have to see. You know what they say: look good, play good. So
That's it.
I don't care what he wears if he is having success and playing well. So
that's right.
This next set of guys we're going to talk about are some younger guys that could be like those depth pieces, could be the future of this linebacking room. Another one to talk about, redshirt freshman, Justin Logan, 6'2", 235, four-star prospect out of high school, was number 22 inside linebacker in the class of 2024. Did choose Arkansas over other schools like Cincinnati, Colorado, Duke, Georgia Tech. And so, you know, a guy that's could come in and, you know, be a depth piece, like we said, with these guys, but also is a little bit younger. And, you know, may not see as a lot of run this year. Could maybe be similar to like you know, Bradley Shaw could have 10, 12 tackles this year, play a little bit on defense, play, you know, special teams, that type of thing. But, you know, you never know. A young guy like this that has the size 6'3" or 6'2", 235, who knows?
Yeah, I'm with you there. Some of these guys, like Justin Logan, they're going to need probably that extra year or so to, especially with a group like this, right? I mean, we've talked about it already, but it's loaded, so it's going to be hard for a guy who's even talented as Jordan Logan to find that entryway to playing time. And you know, God forbid there's you know, injuries or anything like that. That's probably where he'll get some more playing time. And you know, it's bound to happen. Some guys might get banged up a little bit or have to, you know, leave for a half or whatever. I mean, targeting penalties are huge now, so even something like that could happen. Yeah, that's where he's going to get most of his playing time. I think that we talk about depth. I think that with the three that we talked about, Trent Whalen, and we'll get to in a minute, but I think more Andrew Harris, I think that's going to be like the core guys. So like Justin Logan, JJ Shelton, they're going to be a little bit lower on that depth chart, and they're going to have, you know, those opportunities, I think, especially against like A&M and Arkansas State and stuff like that. But if they run this 3-3 defense, if somebody gets hurt or, you know, like I said, targeting penalty and have to leave for a half, that's where they'll get most of their playing time.
So to answer Transplant's text and the speed wise, I think this guy may be the fastest of the group, if not one of the top guys as far as speed goes, which will help him get on the field. You know, I've been a big fan of Logan ever since last year. I put him in the game on college football, and he ended up being in the top 5 in the Heisman race because of how many sacks he got. So because of how fast he is. So I don't know how well that's going to play to real life football, but you know, we'll see. I can't wait to see him play.
Yeah. I mean, and kind of to your point you made earlier about Trent Whalen, Hobbs, Brady says Southern Utah wasn't very good either, so maybe he didn't have that many options. So, you know, to get the opportunity to come to a school, Arkansas, and put it on and kind of show up, it'll be fun to see. Glad to see Angel jumping in here, and good point by him. He said he's going to say our offense can only be as good as our offensive line, and let it be 100% true there. And I'm just saying, chimes in here and says both Logan and Harris look like they have the goods. You know, Harris is another one we'll talk about here in a minute, but it's going to be fun to see that. I'm just saying, says EA can be remarkably accurate sometimes, Hobbs. So there we go.
Well, maybe he's in the Heisman race this year, man. We'll see.
There you go. Out of nowhere to enter the Heisman race. As we continue on, you got a guy like JJ Shelton, another freshman, 3-star prospect that comes in, 6'1", 197, a little bit on the lighter side compared to some of these guys we already talked about. Going to be a developmental piece, shows Arkansas over TCU, Baylor, SMU, Auburn, Texas, Tennessee, Texas A&M, several other schools. Kind of like we talked about with the depth pieces last week with the defensive line. Guy that's going to be young, probably not going to see a lot of playing time this year. but could be a developmental piece for next season or two.
Yeah, there's not much to say about it. True freshman, he's pretty light in the loafers. He's like 197 pounds according to the roster. So he's got a little bit of ways to get up to where you want him to be, because you don't want a linebacker that's under 200 pounds. You really don't want a linebacker that's under 210 pounds, to be honest with you. So, yeah, he's got a little bit of growing to do, and I kind of said that he may get those playing time this year, in those scenarios, but I don't know. Looking back at that weight, I think unless it's changed from the spring to the fall, who knows? That's exactly that's where he needs to work on before he gets out there and goes up against some like offensive lineman who weighs 315 pounds. You don't want that.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, this may be a situation where they're just going to try to bulk him up another year or so. Because I mean, like Austin said, 197. That's pretty light for a linebacker. I could see that possibly be moved to safety. I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah, 100%. Something Angel said here. Say, what do you guys think of Justin Moon? We talked a little bit last week. Go back and check out our D-line conversation last week. But I think he's going to be a key piece of this defensive line this year. They've been talking about how he's kind of been showing out and separating himself in fall camp so far. Fantastic there. I think he might be getting back to, where he was in 2024, what we talked about. He had a really great season, or 23, missed 24 or 22.
Yeah.
He had a really great season in 22, had an injury that kept him out all of 23. Started to come back last year, and really he's kind of maybe fully healthy from that injury last year. So,
like I said earlier, we go as the 10s go. Another thing is, how are the zeros going to do? Braylon Russell's a big key to this offense. What's he look like as a running back? Can he carry a little bit more of a workload? I'm glad to see Washington doing well. That makes me happy. But when you wear 0 on the defensive line, you got to be a gamer. So I can't wait.
Yeah. So as we continue on, last guy on this page for sure is another guy that could surprise some people this year, I think, for Arkansas. Andrew Harris transferred in from UCF. It was going to be a junior this year, 6'3", 220. Saw action in 9 games last season, 9 tackles with a half tackle for loss. As a freshman in 23, played in 5 games, making 5 tackles, was primary on special teams, was a 4-star prospect coming out of high school. And a fun fact for him, he has a twin brother that was also a 4-star linebacker that signed with Maryland. So really talented kid, didn't get a ton of run at UCF, transfers over to Arkansas, and has the opportunity to kind of make a run here, get some playing time, make a name for himself. We've seen that some guys don't get opportunities at other school. They come here, especially with, like we said, and, we made the point earlier, Travis Williams' defense is a very linebacker-friendly defense. And so these guys are going to come in and have the opportunity to kind of show their skill set and what they can do.
Yeah, I'm actually a little bit more high on Andrew Harris than I think a lot of people are. And you heard it yesterday. Again, I'm going to credit this to what's his name, Trey Biddy from his walk and talk. They said that Harris was really, really coming on. They say that he's probably one of the hardest hitting dudes on the team. And I mean, you look at his size, that doesn't surprise me. The dude's a horse. So I'm projecting him to be one of these core guys, in the rotation. I don't think he'll start, but I think he's probably top 5, and I think he may be ahead of Waylon. But it just depends on maybe that experience in the veteran present wins out a little bit more. But Andrew Harris is good. I think he's going to do some pretty good things for this Arkansas defense.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, fantastic. I would love to see that. He's definitely got the resume and the talent and pro potential there, and just needs an opportunity. And like you said, if he came in with a hard-nosed, hard-working mentality this offseason and really improved himself, and he is making waves in fall camp, fantastic. I'd love to see him be up there in that core group 100%. And it's like transplant Texan here. Hogs need to be able to put away their non-conference opponents early in order to give these guys like Justin Logan, your JJ Shelton, and all these other guys we're talking about opportunity to get quality playing time in the second half. You know, unattained success is only a few injuries away. So, you know, your Arkansas State, your, you know, Alabama A&M, Memphis type games, get those games put away early. Let your, you know, your 2s, 3s get some run that second half. If you got, you know, good control of the game, give them quality learning experience. Practice only goes so far. You know, you can practice really well, but, you know, the game's totally different speed, even than practice. So, you know, getting these guys the opportunity to come in and get live game reps could be beneficial and crucial to their development. You know, in that, you know, instance, to the point we've said here, you don't want to see any injuries, but if they happen to occur, you've got next man up and you don't have to worry about a drop off in performance from one guy to the next.
Yeah, exactly. And there's not a lot of positions on this football team that are like that, right? I think offensive line, to be honest with you, I feel like it's one of them. Defensive line, no. Like you lose Cam Ball, I don't know if Arkansas is going to be able to stop the run at all this year, just to be completely honest with you. Yeah, so having this depth is just incredible for this team and how important it is going forward.
Right. And as we kind of wrap up with these last few guys we got here, another guy that Pittman called out by name specifically at I believe his media days or in his first press conference right before fall camp, Wyatt Simmons, redshirt freshman, 6'1", 225, a guy that he said he kind of pulled him aside and said, hey, it's time for you to do something here. And kind of, you know, challenged him, if you will, to, you know, he's got great size and speed according to Pittman. So, you know, another guy that, you know, depending on how his fall camp goes, could be a key rotational guy for this defense as well.
Yeah, I really like Simmons. I think he's got a chance to see the field quite a bit this year. Like Austin's high on the guy we just talked about. I really like Simmons. Pittman likes him a lot. You know, this is a guy that kind of reminds me of a bumper pool type player. Freshman redshirt, sounds like he's going to be around. You know, you never know with these guys. Yeah, right. So, you know, he's homegrown and feels like he's going to be a Razorback, wants to be a Razorback, wants to play for the school. So I really feel like he's a hard worker and you know, I'd love to see him take the field, you know, and earn a spot.
Yeah, actually, if I remember correctly, during his recruitment, he wasn't very highly rated, but he also wasn't like out there doing camps and stuff. His dad was a coach at Harding, I think, or had something to do with Harding, because I know he went to Harding Academy, but I'm pretty sure someone in his family high up was like a coach at Harding. You know, Harding is one of the best D2 schools in the country, football wise, and I think his recruitment is weird because it's more along the lines of like the Antonio Jordan stuff, where he had a lot of skill, but he didn't have a lot of recognition. I think he came on the scene late. Arkansas picked him up, and I don't think he was really looking for anywhere else. I think he was looking for Arkansas. And I remember it being like super closed off. Not a lot of stuff coming out from his camp. So I think that this is where he always wanted to be, and they didn't really need to talk to anybody. So having a guy like that, I mean, you can see from that picture, he's got amazing length. He's got like super long arms. Having that kind of person, someone who has that length, that's going to be great for coverage, right? And we'll talk about that next time whenever we talk about these defensive backs, because all of them are long like that. So, yeah, I think later on, I think he's going to be pretty good. This year, I don't know. We'll see. If they use a whole lot of linebackers, I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt seeing them out there every once in a while.
And you just mentioned Antonio Jordan in that segment. You know, I was going to tell y'all, can y'all believe that he's not on the video game? He's not even on it.
Really? I wonder if it's one of those where he just didn't opt into that or something like that.
Well, maybe they just didn't think he was going to be even redshirted or not even on the roster or something, and they didn't put him on there. So I don't know. But they've got Anthony, who's running track now and not even playing football. So.
Well, I know sometimes once the season begins,
they'll update it.
They'll do a roster update with and updates kind of some stats and stuff like that.
In our dynasty, I won't have them. So great.
Transplant Texans said a preview of seasonal success could hinge on how soon Arkansas puts away their non-conference opponents and how much playing time the backups get in those games. Will fall get starters prepped enough? And that's the key. And that's what we're talking about these guys. And kind of as we continue on here, or to fact check you there, Austin, Transplant Texas said Wyatt Simmons, his father, is the head coach at Harding. Most academy kids have parents at the university for that discount on that tuition.
Yeah. So I knew something. I knew his dad was part of that organization somehow. My gosh.
Yeah.
Can't speak to
I'm
that.
just saying, says speaking of Antonio Jordan, is it me or was there no mention of him following the scrimmage yesterday? It's not just you. There wasn't too much mention. Really, the two guys Pittman focused on in that presser after the scrimmage is really Talon and Mike Washington. That was kind of really the two guys that were hit on as far as for the scrimmage yesterday. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't worry too much about it either. I mean, it's you only get so many minutes with the man, and he's going to talk about the things that popped out to him. And, I mean, Mike Washington popped out. So, if Antonio Jordan doesn't get a couple comments every once in a while, I mean, it's fine. We'll be good.
As we kind of round out the last this linebacking core, Cade Fields transferred in from Arkansas Tech, redshirt junior, 6'1", 206, played at Fayetteville High School for Fayetteville High coach and former Razorback Casey Dick. He did line up in both sides of the ball in high school, seeing action at running back and linebacker. Redshirted his true freshman season, and then last season saw game action in 2 games, no stats recorded. So a guy, Fayetteville native, young guy, redshirt junior this season, going to be a depth piece for this defense.
Yep, good stuff. Being from right down the road, that helps a lot. Especially, understanding the culture at Arkansas. So, yeah, we'll see how he does. Is he a walk-on or is he a scholarship guy?
I'm not 100% there.
Yeah, me either. So, I don't know. Good depth piece. Just not a whole lot to say. Yeah.
Kind of that.
From Fayetteville, so cool. I mean, glad you're here, man. I mean, I always love to have guys that want to be Razorbacks. That's always something that I love to see.
Yes, he's redshirt junior, so he no stats last year. He didn't, I guess, not a lot of playing time at Arkansas State before he transferred over to Arkansas, back closer to home. So, another guy to talk about, another home state kid. You got Preston Davis, redshirt freshman, redshirt last year, no game action, 5'11", 223. Played for head coach Eric Kohu at Little Rock Christian last year, or in high school. Had 402 total tackles, 30 tackles for loss in high school. As a senior, racked up 132 total tackles. Another same thing for these next few guys we're talking about. Depth pieces, young guys, potential, into the roster in terms of could be scholarships, could be kind of quote unquote walk-on status, but are home state kids that are, part of them, hey, if their time comes, they get a shot, fantastic. But part of it, they're also, really glad to be a Razorback and be part of that team.
I'll say this. We haven't said it yet. So that's how you know the depth is good. If you get to these, well, maybe not Wyatt Simmons, but you get to the last 3, then something's gone wrong, right? This is that type of we're at that point in the depth chart. If you see these guys, then something definitely went wrong, or something went incredibly right. So
exactly. So as we kind of round out here, the last couple guys we're going to mention, Joseph Witt, redshirt freshman, didn't see any game action last year, 6'2", 209. And then Mason Shuck, redshirt junior, 6'2", 219. Has not seen any action so far. So kind of that same story with these last few guys. Great depth though, as we talked about our linebacker room, those first handful of, 6 to 7 guys we talked about are going to be those key guys to watch for this season. As we get ready and see what this depth looks like and who takes advantage of different opportunities that come their way and the type of defense that we're going to run this year, whether we run some traditional, 4-3, 3-3, these different types of defenses. And we also know how Travis Williams likes to be aggressive, a little bit more aggressive on the defensive side of the ball. And if we can have this personnel that we talked about help that aggressiveness have success, that'll be fantastic. And like Transplant Tech said, this season's roster of players seems to have a few non-true freshmen with 0 stats last year. So, yeah, you got a lot of guys that transferred in. You don't have a ton of true freshmen. You have more at other skill positions. But, yeah, Arkansas's recruiting classes over the past few years hasn't been huge, and you've had a lot of guys, leave as well and attack and kind of rely heavier on the transfer portal as well.
Yeah. And just because they have 0 stats, you look at Andrew Harris, didn't have a whole lot of stats last year, but, he was a sophomore on a not so great
UCF team, yeah.
UCF team. So having him come over here and, play, get at least some competition, probably one of the better linebacker cores in the SEC. I don't think I'm too far off base saying that, at least top half. That's going to be great for him and his development. And hopefully over the spring and the summer, that's kind of changed.
Do y'all have any idea why UCF wasn't that good last year?
Oh my God.
Hobbs' soapbox is AJ Jefferson. Hey, that excuse only works for those first 3 to 4 games. After that,
yeah, they put all their cards on him, and he went there and was just as bad as he was here. Just the downward spiral continued.
Oh man. Anyway, as we round this back out, kind of opposite of what we talked about this week, I think, us collectively as a whole, a little bit more confident about this offense or this linebacking room, being probably the top out of the 3 position groups on this defensive side of the ball. Most confidence for me anyway. And then we'll talk about those DBs next week. That is kind of middle of the road. They could easily be one of the better units on this defensive side of the ball, or on the flip side that they could be just as kind of not great as they were last year. So it just depends. They retooled, revamped that. You lost some guys, but you also brought some guys in. You got some guys returning, and we'll talk about all that next week. So kind of as we get ready to wrap up and get out of here, anything else you guys got talking about Arkansas linebackers or anything else from the scrimmage or this weekend before we wrap up?
No, I kind of wish they would have one of these scrimmages kind of open to the public. I know it's hard to do that during the fall like this, but man, not having that spring and no one really knows what's going on with this team, and having that having it open to the public, at least part of a practice, may actually get a little bit of the blood pumping for this season. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, I don't have much to say.
I agree with that sentiment.
Yeah. At least part of it, put on some that, your bread and butter plays. Yeah. Nothing that's crazy. And then, make it a little bit, I don't make a whole event out of it or anything.
Right.
But...
just have some vanilla stuff that you're going to run that way. To Angel's point, it feels like we're in the dark here, not having the spring game. And then you go into this. I get you want closed off stuff. Of course, I respect that, having closed off practice. You don't want stuff getting out, things like that. But if you don't have a spring where your fans can come and see this team. Do something like, some like small segment that you have, 30-minute segment that's open, people can come watch, and then, get everybody out of the stadium or move to the practice facilities and finish up the rest of your scrimmage, whatever you're going to do. But yeah, I think that's a big part of it is like, you want fans to get behind this team this year, open up and let them see something. You cancel the spring game. So nobody knows what to expect other than, your key guys that you have, your Taylor Greens, your Braylon Russells, the big name type of guys. But kind of like we're going through the depth chart, some of these guys, people have no idea who they are or really what to, think of them. So Angel says Petrino's always been like that back to his head coaching days. So
yeah,
again, I understand and I respect that.
I love being in the dark. I love the whole what's going on. Want to know why? Because when we finally play somebody that's worth a crap to start the season, it's at Ole Miss, and I want them to not know what the heck to expect and get punched in the mouth. That's exactly what I want. So yeah, keep not showing what we got. I love it.
There you go. Opposite side of the spectrum. That's what some people are saying there. So
I told you, argumentative. He is argumentative today.
He said Hobbs is just on one right now. So.
Oh man, that's funny.
But to Transplant's point here, I didn't even think to mention this. He said, "How much hype have we heard about quote unquote fan day? It seems like it's hush hush to meet NIL obligations." I mean, yeah, they announced that they're doing a fan day in the next week or so, but other than that announcement, there doesn't seem to be a push to put that out there. When this is kind of, I feel like this is the makeup to that kind of autograph meet the players type thing they were going to have after the spring game. It's like we talked about. That was when Hobbs was in town for the live show. Is that they could have still had that event even though they canceled the game part, but they just canceled everything altogether. So I feel like this might be a little bit of kind of making up for what they canceled back in the spring.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I didn't even know what that was until you said something about it. To be honest with you.
Yeah, next Saturday, as Transplant Tech said, Arkansas Football Fan Day. So hey, get out here. You can come meet the players, get autographs, whatnot, and kind of be a little bit less in the dark. Get to meet some names with faces and things like that. So. As we get ready to wrap up here, don't forget to like and subscribe to the show on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Go follow us across all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those. As Austin mentioned at the beginning of the show, keep an eye on our Twitter page because we'll have it updating, throughout the different sports. Like yesterday, keeping up with scores and goals and different plays for soccer. We'll do that for football. We'll do that across all the other sports. Have some stats, halftime stats, and things like that. And make sure you hit that bell. That way, anytime we go live, that way you don't miss it. Hopefully it's not raining, so we don't cancel an indoor event. We
might actually be watching the game live this year too, right?
Yeah. So it's going to be fun. Get ready. Everybody have a great rest of your Sunday and get ready for the beginning of this week. We'll be back on Thursday for our next show. We'll look at those DBs and kind of get ready to wrap up. We'll have the DBs and special teams so Hobbs can talk all about his kickers on that show. So I appreciate it, Transplant Texting. So y'all do a good job showcasing those sports programs on campus. We try our best. I love the big three sports as much as anybody else with baseball, football, basketball. But can't forget about the other fantastic stuff we have out on campus, like especially, the success our women's soccer team has, our women's softball, our gymnastics team. They deserve that coverage too. And here at Hogs on the Hill, we're going to give it to you as much as we can and as much as we can cover over here. So Razorbacks from wall to wall, top to bottom, that's what we're going to try to cover. Every sport in between, track and field, you name it. If Arkansas had a good, water polo team, we'd be covering that too.
So, about to say that.
Water polo is a good sport, though. Like, I mean, that's not saying nothing.
So, with that, we'll wrap up here. From Austin, Hobbs, myself, we're going to wrap up, get out of here. Everybody have a great rest of your Sunday afternoon. Have a great start to your week, and we'll catch you back here on Thursday as we continue our position breakdown and get ready to preview those Arkansas defensive backs for the 2025 team. With that, we're going to get out of here, and we'll see you later.